I had the great privilege to go with John and what was today to a school where I saw eMINTS both on the middle school and on the high school level being implemented. And what I saw there was something rather remarkable. What I saw was everything eMINTS is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a program that takes the learning and places it right back into the student's lap. It gives the student ownership over the product. It makes the student feel like an entrepreneur. And the teacher does what the teacher is supposed to do: facilitate, help, move things along. And I saw it today because there was even one simple lesson about the presidents, the U.S. presidents. And when I heard that the teacher was going to do a lesson about remembering the names of 43 presidents, I was looking for a plastic instrument to do harm to myself. Because we all remember that lesson. We remember that we had to remember the names of all the presidents and what states they came from. And then, of course, after we took that test, that knowledge was all gone. Useless knowledge. And yet, when I walked in this classroom, here was this beehive of activity of all these students making what really looked like baseball cards of presidents. They were facilitating the knowledge. They were searching out the questions to ask. They were finding the facts about the president, and so on and so forth. They were building, they were creating. They were practicing 21st century skills. They were connecting with each other. They were connecting with their teacher. And I even walked up to one student, and I figured, well, let me throw this kid a curveball. I don't know what we do as teachers sometimes. And I said to him, so you familiar with most of the presidents? He said, yeah, real confident in himself. I said, really? Tell me something about Millard Fillmore. And he told me about Millard Fillmore. And I said, that is learning. That is learning. Here are these students right here who are actually always going to remember what they learned today. Why? Because they discovered it. They own that learning today. And they did it through this whole beautiful marriage between smart technology and eMINTS going back and forth. And that was so special. Because that was the message I brought with me when I went to the White House and I spoke in the Rose Garden right next to the wonderful president last April. And it wasn't an easy thing to do, to speak at the White House. Because I think, as Monica said, I teach in a relatively obscure, small alternative high school in Connecticut. And when you get a phone call from the White House informing you that you're going to be named the National Teacher of the Year, and you'll be meeting with President Obama, and you'll be speaking alongside him in the Rose Garden, well, that's where the fear of public speaking really kicks in. And I wasn't really quite sure what I was going to say, because in the back of my mind I was really worried that I was going to do something stupid when it came my turn to speak after President Obama, and I would have about 500,000 hits on YouTube. So-called great teacher, it's like idiot at White House. So this is what's going on in my mind. And then a little caveat to that, the press secretary of the White House said that my speech would be limited to 3 minutes. So I knew I had to economize my words, and I wasn't really quite sure, like, well, what do I say? What do I say to represent America's teachers, to let people know what we really feel as a teacher? And it kind of dawned on me, because something had occurred to me when I was named the Connecticut State Teacher of the Year. I was just named the Connecticut State Teacher of the Year, and a reporter had walked right up to me right after the announcement and stuck a microphone in my face. I said, Mr. Mullen, what makes a great teacher? What's the quality of a good teacher? And I turned around to him and I said, well, passion and professionalism and perseverance are 3 qualities that make a good teacher. And he was gone. And it kind of perturbed me at the time that he was gone, because I didn't really get to finish what I wanted to say. And I also realized that living in New York, and our major radio station is News 88, which means that they repeat everything every 8 minutes on the hour. And I knew that on the way home that day I was going to hear myself every 8 minutes saying these same 3 little words. But I realized what this reporter had done. He got a soundbite. He got a soundbite. But he left me with this Rubik's Cube. And it really bothered me. And I tossed and turned that night, probably about 2:30 in the morning, trying to figure out what really does make a good teacher. And then it dawned on me that all good teachers share one common quality, one common thread that unites all good teachers. They know how to read a story. They know that each and every child arrives at their classroom door with a unique and intriguing yet incomplete story. And all the really good teachers know that we're given this wonderful gift, this ability to help script confidence on the blank pages, to help edit the mistakes, to help write a happy ending. The really good teachers know that we have the power, responsibility to make a child happy or sad, to make a child feel confident or unwanted, to make a child feel good about themselves. And we do that because we make a personal connection with children in our classrooms. We do that because we make a personal connection with young adults in our classroom. That is the heart and soul of teaching. Knowing your student, knowing what weaknesses your students have, and more importantly, what are their strengths. What is it that we can bring out from them to make them valuable, to make them feel valued? And that's what I saw today in the classroom. I saw not only the teachers understanding the story of each and every child in their classroom, but the students themselves understanding each other's stories, working with each other. And that is why it's so critical what you do. So critical what we all do. I spoke to a business group a few months ago, a very large business group out in the Midwest. And it's very interesting when you speak to people who are not in the education field, because I don't know if they really fully understand what we do. And I was speaking right after the gentleman had done a PowerPoint presentation for about 20 minutes with all sorts of lines and graphs and curves and the whole bit, saying how this certain model is the model that will help raise test scores. And once again, that crazy thought came to my head as I was sitting at the table, and I was very fortunate I only had a plastic knife. And then I spoke after him. And I may have raised a few eyebrows because I told the people in the audience, the business people in the audience, that a phrase once made famous by Calvin Coolidge was really inaccurate. Because as we know, President Coolidge once said that the business of America is business. I told him, no, it's not. The business of America is education. And it's the business of everybody to make sure that education is fully funded, fully supported, and fully enriched by everybody. That's really the business of America. And that's the business of eMINTS. That's the business of smart technologies. These are the organizations that are coming together to help me, a classroom teacher, become better, to help me grow, and then pass it on to those young people who I love so much to work with. Those young people who we don't want climbing the fire escapes. Those young people we don't want cutting themselves. Those young people we don't want drinking alcohol. Those young people that we want to just grab and save and not make a dropout. That's what we do. That's what you do. And I'd just like to close my remarks here tonight by saying one thing. Because even though I speak here by myself, I look at things from a different perspective. I feel so privileged and honest standing in front of educators. I feel as though I'm looking at you rather than you're looking at me. And when I look at this audience here tonight, I think of Henry David Thoreau. And I think of something that he had once said. And as most of us know, Henry David Thoreau spent some time at Walden Pond. He was actually squatting on land owned by Emerson. But Thoreau is known mostly for his observations about the beauty of nature. But Thoreau also made some very, very acute observations about human nature. Thoreau said that people need to be more than good. People, Thoreau said, need to do good things. That is what you do with your life. You have chosen to do good things with your life. And for me to stand here and see so many people who could have done so many other things with their lives, but instead have chosen to do the good thing with their life to help educate children, it's just a wonderful experience. And for that I thank you. God bless.